'Cause all my chopper friends are buying Road Kings, trading in their ratchet tops for 6 speeds. They're saying shit like I'm too old to kick, and we all know what that means. All my chopper friends are buying Road Kings.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Darla, and today I'm here with Pucky.
What's up?
And we're going to talk about his beautiful Shovelhead.
This is the purple skirp, purple nurple, Mrs. Jones, purple people eater, purple funk machine. It is purple. That's all I have on it. That's all I know about it. I actually don't ride choppers. I got it for looks. Just kidding. No. Yeah, this is my 1984 on the title, Shovelhead. But whenever people say what year their bike is, it's like, unless you had all matching numbers stuff, it's like, I don't know.
You're like, what part of it?
People always go, what year's your bike? I'm like, I don't know. 84, I guess. Yeah, I bought this bike a couple years ago, and it was already in chopper form, already in this frame, so it's already hardtailed. So I'm not going to claim that I am like the sole designer of this, but I was just starting to really get into Harleys. I grew up riding dirt bikes and was like, that was kind of like my main thing. I'm still super into dirt bikes and that whole scene. But my friend Taylor, who you interviewed, Storm Riders, he had a Shovelhead, and in my mind, so I grew up in San Diego, in my mind, Harleys was Dyna Bros. Like Sons of Anarchy wannabe only. That's all I ever saw. I didn't know any chopper dudes in San Diego. And so I was like, Harley's like, they seem cool, but it's not my thing.
Yeah.
And then I saw a chopper and I was like, what? That exists? Like, I honestly, outside of like Easy Riders movie and like posters on like uncles' garages, you know, it's like, I don't know, like choppers were like a mythical beast. It was just like this thing that, it was like, oh my God, someone has one of those? What the hell? So anyways, Taylor was one who was like, yeah, dude, like get into it. So I got this bike. I rode it how it originally was for a while. And just like, you know, you start like, as you learn a bike, you start changing just like little things to your personality. And then last year, my ignition failed and I couldn't get it started. And I was just kind of like, you know what? Like I could probably put the Band-Aid on this, or I could like strip it down and completely rebuild it. And so I did. I stripped it down to the frame, like went through everything, went through my transmission, redid all the electrical, went through the oil lines, and I painted the whole thing myself, changed like the seat, sissy bar, and was like, I need to just make this like my bike. Because it was almost like I was riding someone else's bike for a little bit. So now it definitely feels like
it's yours.
It feels like it's mine. And like
Yeah.
when I pull up to ride with my friends, it's less of a, what do they call that one? Like your identity,
Are you having an identity crisis?
not an identity crisis, but there's a word for that where you're like, imposter syndrome.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Imposter syndrome. It was like, it felt like I'm on someone else's bike. You know what I mean?
Poser.
Yeah. I'll like read all the Chopper Patrol things like, fuck, that's me.
Oh, no.
No, not really. But
well, now you have something that represents you.
totally have something that represents me, and now I can like say for sure like all the hardware is correct on this, and like everything is tightened down, and I know I'm not gonna like die riding this because I know I tightened everything twice. So yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
We were taking apart my bike. There were so many things that he was like, that was way too loose. And I was like, oh, that's we're going through the whole thing.
It's always, you know what's funny is like whenever I've gone through a bike, it's certain hardware is unbelievably tight. Like no amount of like force can get a bolt undone. You know, it's like, is this bolt gonna snap? And it'll always be like a foot peg or something, right? That you just cannot get off. But then your motor mount is just like, and you're like, all right, well, that's sick. Sick.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, so how long ago was that you said when you got it?
I got it in 22, I think. So the story is I had an XS 650 chopper before this, and it turns out that unless you're riding a Harley, you're not cool. So I was like, I got to get a Harley. Actually, no. True story is my ignition actually died on my XS 650. I have terrible ignition luck apparently, and I ended up selling it. And I had money in my retirement account because I was working admin jobs up until a couple years ago. And so I had this like a bunch of money in retirement, and I was like, who needs retirement? So I pulled it all out early and paid like 40% in taxes on it. But I was like, I don't give a fuck. And I pulled out all the money and bought this bike because I was like, that's an investment right there.
That's the American dream.
It is the American dream. I was like, the world's going to end in like 5 years anyways. What am I going to do? Have a retirement? Fuck that. I'd rather have a chopper.
So I tell my husband, I'm like, what kind of American would I be if I wasn't in debt? Like,
honestly.
Let me use my credit card to buy some motorcycle parts.
It's all fake anyways. It's just like the numbers on the screen moving around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything at all, for sure. Yeah, so that's when I got it. And then, like I said, I started, when I went to rebuild it, I think everyone has this, where whenever you take apart a bike, you're like, I'm going to work on this every day. It's going to be done in like a month, 2 months, right? I pulled this apart in, I want to say, late July last year, and I finished it last week. Like really got it dialed in last week was like when I first took it out on the road.
Since May.
So 10 months.
Yeah, almost a year.
Yeah, just about 10 months it took me to do it. Just because you go little by little and like there's so many.
It's expensive too.
Gets expensive.
Time-consuming to do every little thing.
Well, and I was trying to do so much here at home, and I have just like a little shed. And finally, Alex at Crispy, my boss, he was like, dude, just bring it into the shop, like just take it off the lift when you're not working on it type of deal. And yeah, I wouldn't have been able to. I probably would. It would have been much worse without him in general, because he's definitely been like a huge mentor to me. Like since I started working at the shop, I always tell him like, you ruined me, because I used to be okay with like way worse things, and he is just like super good about noticing, again, like matching hardware and just how things are fabricated, and you know where welds are left and where things have lows and shaping. All these little things I start picking out. So then that was also part of it, is when I started rebuilding my bike, I was all of a sudden there was all these things I wasn't okay with anymore. And so I
really like nitpicky.
So I started getting nitpicky and like, well, I want to fix this on the frame then, and I want to sand this down and do, you know, so I end up doing more than I thought I was going to do. Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Like I'm in deep now.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely how it was.
Digging yourself into a hole. It's okay, you made it out, look.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
10 months is not that bad.
No, it's not. And I have I think that the other hard part is like when you work at a shop with so many other bikes, or if you have other bikes to ride. I think I tore this down and I bought a Sportster because I was like, I have to have something to ride. Yeah. And that was like the cheapest way to like get back on the road. But then you get comfortable for too long with the whole hit the button and go type of deal. I was like, oh, I'll get around to the Shovelhead. And then we'd get bikes in the shop. And every time I'd ride like one of our Shovelheads, I'm like, oh, I really got to finish my bike. It's so much better. Like I always say I don't know how to explain it. Like I, again, wasn't always a Harley guy. And my first road bike was actually a CB750. And I loved it when I had it, but something about when you get on a Harley, I don't know if it's just like the posture of how you're sitting, or if it's just the way the engine like vibrates, the whole thing, it's just like its own vibe, you know, like it's like you can't replace it. And like even specifically Shovelheads, like, you know, I love big twin Evos also because they're just like, there's like rock solid and they feel so good. And like that Evo engine's like cool, and Shovelheads, I think there's almost something to the ricketiness of it that I'm just like, I don't know, this is good. Yeah I really wanted to get a Shovelhead, but wasn't in the cards. Yeah, it wasn't in the cards. Maybe next time. Yeah, no, you'll be stoked when you do finish your Evo though. You're gonna be like, yeah, no, this is
I thought that like I was gonna get a lot of like, I don't know, that it's like I'm not a part of the cool kids club or whatever, because I don't have like a Panhead or a Shovelhead, like just one of the like OG ones. But surprisingly, I've been getting a lot of support. A lot of people that are like, I want to do an Evo build next. I'm like,
It's because Evos are the new shovels. You heard it here first. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Hear that?
Evos are the new shovels. Everyone knows it. People, I don't know what it is about people that like, I don't know. It's so funny how it becomes like a class thing, right? Where it's like the knuckle people are like, whoa, like, whoa.
I mean, just like how you're saying, like, if you don't have a Harley, you're not cool. That's what the community like makes it seem like sometimes.
Yeah.
But we're going to be including all types of choppers on our channel, just because
Totally.
they're still cool.
And you know what? I honestly think it's almost becoming like more of a myth, or maybe it's just the NorCal people.
Yeah.
But like honestly, all my friends and people up here, I don't know anyone personally who's like, oh, that's lame. All my friends are like stoked on all kinds of bikes, you know, that we see, and I think that like, I almost think it's like more of a meme than it is a real thing that people are like, oh, Harleys only, or like.
Do you know Tyler?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen his sister's bike?
No, I haven't.
It's a Honda.
Sick.
It's a Honda chopper.
Sick.
But it looks really cool. It's like weird looking at the engine, but it is cool.
Nice. Yeah, my coworker Sam has an old 70s Honda, like I think it's a CB 350 or something like that. And it's like a Survivor chopper. It's small, but it's like this cool molded frame that's got like this crazy ribbon looking design. And I'm like, this thing is so bitchin'. Like it needs to be put back together. And I'm like, once this gets put together, it's gonna be like the most fun.
Yeah.
Because also I'm a huge believer that small bikes, like smaller displacement bikes, are just oddly fun. Like my daily commuter is a little Yamaha TW200. And it's just funny because I'll be riding down the street and like I look like a dork. It's like got the fat tires and I have my lunchbox on the back and I'm like,
people probably think you're like a little nerd. You're like, my other bike's a Shovelhead.
Well, no, what's funny is like you pass people on motorcycles, you know, and I'm like, and they're like, oh, whatever, and I'm like, you don't even know. I swear I'm cool.
They don't even know.
I just ride this because I don't want to wake my neighbors up. Because it gets 80 miles a gallon. No, but it's like so fun. It goes all of like 50 miles an hour top speed.
Hell yeah.
But it's all you need sometimes, unless you're going on the highway.
I know, I feel you'd really be struggling.
I take it on the highway every day going to work for all of 100 yards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it literally is like, just like vibrating.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So, I heard that there's this little secret surprise underneath this bike.
Yeah, so leaning into the weirdo that I am, like, I just felt like, okay, the bike is bright, like it's all purple. I wanted the frame to be Metal Flake because I'm just a huge fan of Metal Flake in general. And I was like, actually, what it was is I was binging Fast and Furious, which I do.
Oh no!
I do every once in a while, and this particular time was a research mission. And look, if you don't like the first Fast and Furious, you're just wrong. The first one is good.
I just watched all of them, like, in a row, like, literally just, like, last month.
Okay, so you know. I was like, I don't remember. When do they start getting, like, bad? The answer is so fucking fast.
Yeah.
It's like, first one, I'm like, this movie's sick. Second one, I'm like, still pretty good. Not bad. Tokyo Drift, its own thing. I like it, but it's its own thing. Fourth one, awful. And then gone. And then from then on, it's just like, I actually don't think I got all the way through. I think I made it to like 7 and I was like, I can't do it.
I don't even think I made it to 7.
Yeah.
I think I definitely watched like 5.
It was definitely like a rainy weekend kind of thing. And I was like, they fucking suck you in though.
Yeah, that's what happened. I was homesick.
Yeah.
And it's just like you just put one on and then it just starts playing the next one.
Exactly. I guess I'm already here.
Yep.
Anyways, all that to say, I was watching that and I was like, wouldn't it be stupid if my bike had underglow? Yeah. And so naturally I'm on my phone and I'm like looking up purple LEDs. Like I was like, they gotta make like some sort of purple LEDs. So I wired underneath, there's just 6 tiny little LED bulbs that shine purple that I put on a switch. They're not always on, but I have them on like a tiny little hidden switch that at night when we're cruising down the highway, I can flick it on and be like, look at me. And everyone's like, you're an idiot. And I'm like, sure am. And the funny thing about it too is like, I was like, that would be so funny. And so I started wiring it in there. And as I started going, I'm like, this is gonna take me so long because like I didn't want it to look like it's a lot of wires. And so to hide all those wires, it took me like honestly 4 to 5 hours just to wire. And I was like, this is such a commitment for a joke. And
but now you're like, it was all
so worth it. Honestly, it is and isn't. It's cool. Like I like turning it on and looking at it, and then I'm like, this is dumb.
Why did I do this?
Why'd I do this? Yeah.
Well, luckily you could always just not turn it on if you don't want to.
Well, I definitely knew I had to put it on a switch. I was like, if I do all this and like, or like it just drains my battery for some reason, I just feel like an idiot.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So I try to put little quirks in there, make it fun, and like, you know, my friend bought me the purple rabbit's foot for good luck instead of the bell. Was like, we'll just throw the rabbit's foot on there, and you can't see it on this side, but I found, you know, like the purple glass shifter and made my own, you know, shift lever for it. So I just was like, I want there to just be just enough little details. And like, I think one time Alex at the shop, Alex was, he put one of these bolts that he had machined in the lathe, just like a little bullseye looking thing. I saw him do it one time and I was like, whoa, that's sick. And so I was like, I'm gonna do all my bolts like that. He's like, you're gonna do all your bolts? And I was like, all right, maybe not all of them, but like the tank bolts, like anything that's like very noticeably visible, I machined just because I was like, I think it's so cool.
You're like, I'm gonna do all of them, and then like 2 in, you're like, I'm gonna do some of them.
I'm gonna do 6 of them. He's like, why are you gonna do all of them? You're not even gonna see half of them. I was like, you're right, that's stupid.
I would like to say that it makes me very happy that you have not just one, but many names for your bike, because I always ask people, like, oh, does your bike have a name? And so many people are like, no, I don't do names. And I'm like, lame, you're not fun. Like,
I have a lot of names for I have 2 names, you know? I go by Pucky, but my real name is Jordan. And half the people up here call me Jordan, half the people up here call me Pucky, because Pucky was a stage name that stuck when I moved up here. And so my bike has to have multiple names. My dogs have multiple names, whether they're being...
Can I ask how Pucky became
a
stage name?
Yeah. So I saw Pucky spray painted on a wall when I was like 18.
Okay.
And I thought, that's a cool name. And I just kind of kept it in the back of my head for a long time. And when I moved up here, I did an open mic, and I was like, I need like a different stage name playing solo, because I always played in bands, and I just felt like my regular name wasn't cool enough to be on its own. So I signed up as Pucky Willis, and I mean, like literally immediately, people were like, "Oh, Pucky," and it just stuck. So
I bet you felt
ever
cool,
since.
Like,
100%. Because you're like, it's not like someone else. Like, yes, I gave myself the nickname. But it was one of those things where, like, again, I do a lot of things where I'm just like, that'd be stupid, and then it sticks, right?
I really feel like you could come up with a couple of different scenarios that did not really happen, but people would believe you. Like, if you're like, well, I got hit in the head with a hockey puck. And
no, I'm not Canadian, so I didn't play hockey at all, ever. Yeah, I'm not good at sports at all. What's weird is, like, I was telling... maybe my mom, I was telling someone, I was like, I have no problem performing live, like being a musician or whatever. I have no problem being, whether it's in front of a couple people, whether it's 100, 1,000 people, whatever. Like, I'm playing in front of a crowd, I don't get nervous, I don't get stage fright. It might just be like a repetition thing, you know? But like, anytime I'm on video, and like I've been forcing myself to post videos of myself singing, and it's so hard, unbelievably more difficult than I mean, I guess you could relate. You would do these videos. I
edit the videos, and it's like painful to hear my voice.
I'm like, that's what I sound like? I thought my voice was way deeper. And then I listen back, and it's like, hi, guys. Yeah, this is my fucking chopper. Like, it's fucking purple.
He'll say something. He'll be like, oh, did you notice that you say that's funny like 3 times? And then I cut out every single clip of every single time I said that's funny because he like made me overthink about it.
Now she's got me saying that's funny all the time.
Because when something's funny, I'm always like, that's funny.
So how this bike became purple was I had been practicing just airbrushing different designs in my loft up here. And I have a drawing of this design. I just liked the idea of a ribbon that overlapped. Like it wasn't just a regular ribbon, like it overlapped each other. And I thought that was kind of cool. And it's very like bouncy to me. And we had this tank laying around the shop. It was red before. It's an old like GMA style tank. And I think we tried to like sell it for a long time and like no one was buying it because it was just kind of a weird red color. And I was like, hey Alex, are you cool if I just like take this and like use it as a practice thing to paint? Because for the record, I'm not like a painter. When I was like first started really getting into choppers, I was like, I want to be a painter. And then I was like, this is so much work.
Yeah.
Props to all the painters out there who are properly doing all the steps and sanding shit. And also it's like so expensive in clear coat, just like so much clear coat. And I'm so broke when I was first doing it that I'm like, dude, this is gonna be like $60 in clear coat on this fucking gas tank, like that I'm doing for fun and not selling. So anyways, I painted the tank because I just wanted to get the idea out of my head and just kind of practice. And I had it done and I was like, I think this tank will actually fit my bike. And the tabs mounted up where my bungs already were because the tank that was on here before was kind of a similar style. So I was like, cool, looks like I'm gonna paint the whole bike purple then. And so I did. I bought matching metal flake and I sprayed the whole thing and like put little details in the neck and like in the rear. And so there's just like little tiny nods. But yeah, I think it's cool. Like I like the idea of, I know it's not like the best paint job, but I think it's cool again to be like, I did all of it. Like I even fucking painted the thing, and yeah, I just felt.
Not a lot of people can say that.
Felt very me. Yeah. Well, I mean, and for the record, there's nothing wrong with getting your bike painted. I'm definitely not like the you got to do it yourself. I don't know. I'm very antsy and like have to be doing things. So the idea of building a motorcycle and then like being able to do it for myself. Because when I got into choppers and when I started working at Crispy, I honestly didn't think there was a lot of things that I could do. Like in my mind, being a welder or like being able to shape metal or like even really do a amazing job at like painting and all this stuff was like, it just like, I don't know, it almost seemed beyond my grasp of like, how am I ever going to learn that? And Alex has just mentored me for the last year and a half to where now I can do all of these things. They don't seem so daunting, but that was just kind of like how the whole thing came together was like, oh dude, like you can learn how to do this. And I think again, that's like the beauty of Shovelheads and choppers and Sportster, whatever, like all these things is of the different motorcycles that I have worked on, I think Harleys are honestly the most forgiving and the easiest to like get your feet wet and learn on, because even though they're temperamental, they will run on like 20 compression with like an intake leak. They'll run shitty, but they'll run.
Yeah.
Versus like a Honda that has 4 carbs. It's like one of them's off and it doesn't want to start. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having us over to interview you on your bike. Your house is super cool.
Thank you. Thanks for helping me push this into my living room.
I just watched. Well, thanks for tuning in, you guys, and we'll see you next week for another video.
And make sure to like and subscribe. Do it again. Surely I would, and said, honey, it was a damn good night, and I broke down, I got back up, but hell, we had fun. This is the Girl Scouts trying to sell me caramel D lights. Get the hell out of here.